Hello everyone. Welcome back to the video on my Storytime channel. So I figured I'd talk about my experience with autism. I was diagnosed with autism as a toddler, and because of this I was a special needs student during my time in elementary school, middle school, and in high school. So I was a special needs student from kindergarten through 12th grade. I had a paraprofessional in the inclusion program at the schools I was attending. And yeah, having autism certainly affected my life, but it especially had a big impact when I was in high school. During my freshman year at Tottenville High School, I experienced a lot of, that's when I started experiencing some some effects of having autism. Having effects of having autism, and the result of that was the unpleasant interactions I had with the students I was forced to attend school with. The students I was attending school with, had unpleasant interactions with them. It was very unpleasant, honestly. Yeah, it was very unpleasant, honestly. It was very awful during my sophomore and junior years of high school. My 10th grade and 11th grade years at Tottenville were pretty bad, honestly, because the students there treated me pretty terribly. I was harassed by them, and all because of the fact I had autism. They thought they could harass me and walk all over me and step on me. So definitely an awful thing that occurred back then. Definitely awful things that occurred back then. It definitely pissed me off, honestly. I was definitely pissed about that. Awful experiences back in my 10th grade, 11th grade years at Tottenville. So yeah, figured I would talk about that. Yeah. So April 2nd is Autism Awareness Day, and since I have autism, I have Asperger's syndrome. I figured I would talk about it a little briefly on this channel. I had a paraprofessional during my time in high school. I was in the inclusion program. I had extra time during the Regents. When we took the Regents, I had extra time. I had extra 2 hours, so that was definitely helpful in that regard. But still, it was very difficult, honestly, having autism. And during my high school time, I didn't enjoy it very much. Honestly, I hated it. If I had to be honest, hated it until my 12th grade year. My 12th grade year was much better, honestly. 12th grade was much better, but my first 3 years at Tottenville were pretty bad, honestly. I had to be honest. It was pretty awful. There's no easy way to say it. Yeah. I was harassed pretty badly for having autism during my sophomore and junior years of high school. Other students were mocking me, insulting me, calling me stuff like, "Oh, look, it's the retard," or something like that. Some stupid, ignorant, dumb stuff like that, saying "Oh, he's retarded," stuff like that. So that really pissed me off, and I had a lot of anger issues because of that during my time in high school. My sophomore and junior years of high school were the worst of it. It was definitely pretty awful, honestly, in my own personal opinion. But yeah, I had autism. I was bullied pretty badly for having autism during my sophomore and junior years of high school in Tottenville. I was bullied pretty badly. One time I was in a classroom and some kid threw my backpack across the room and they knocked my books off my table, and other students were mocking me and harassing me. I never forgot how angry I felt after all that. I had a lot of anger issues because of it. So I was definitely pretty upset about that, honestly. I was definitely angry about that. And I had severe anger issues. In 2014, I had to start taking medication because I kept getting into fits of rage, and I had severe anger issues, and I just had difficulty controlling my anger. And I had to take medicine because of it. I get into fits of rage. My emotions get the better of me. I definitely had a lot of anger issues because of that. So yeah, I was definitely angry for a long time because of the people harassing me because I had autism. I definitely felt a lot of anger towards the people that were harassing me. Even staff members were making my life difficult in high school. Even staff members were harassing me and making my life difficult in high school. There was this guidance counselor in Tottenville High School during my first 3 years there. She was a bitch. She was a real effing bitch. No easy way to say it. She was a bitch. She was definitely a horrible person to be around, and you have no idea how relieved I was when she got fired and replaced in 2014. So I had a different guidance counselor during my senior year, which definitely was a lot better off. Let's be real. That's probably the reason why I had a better experience at Tottenville during my senior year. Plus, everybody just left me alone during my senior year, which is definitely fine in my opinion. I'd much rather be ignored than be harassed. Let's be real. During my senior year, everybody just left me alone and stopped bothering me after my 11th grade year, which is totally fine. It's much more verbal. Which is totally fine. I'd much rather be ignored than be harassed repeatedly, honestly. But yeah, it was definitely like something that I honestly took a long time for me to get over. Now it's been 10 years since my high school experience. I've definitely moved on. I've definitely transitioned from all that. But, it definitely had fits of rage, PTSD from what happened. I've forgotten about it now, and I've cut off contact with the people I went to school with. I blocked them on social media. I cut off all contact with them. I made it clear I wanted nothing to do with them. So I pretty much made it clear I wanted nothing to do with them. I cut off contact with all of them, and I did myself a favor by not hanging out with them and by blocking them on all social media platforms. I did myself a favor in that regard by blocking them and cutting off all contact with them. But yeah, it's honestly it was a pretty stressful time for my family and myself. And I started taking my anger out on my family. It was a very stressful time period during my life, I'd say. But yeah, honestly, everything worked out for the better, and I'm glad that my life is so much more happier now that I'm no longer in high school. Everything is so much better off, honestly. And yeah, honestly, it was such a stressful time period. Like, literally. I had such anger issues because of what I experienced during my high school time. Gym classes were definitely awful. The other students were nasty, moronic assholes that were harassing me repeatedly. I definitely had a lot of horrible experiences because of them and the shit they put me through, honestly. Honestly ridiculous, honestly. Yeah, like, there's no excuse for what I went through, honestly. It never should have happened, but, at least my 12th grade year was much better at Tottenville thanks to the fact that my guidance counselor got replaced, and it was much better at Tottenville ever since she got replaced. It was much better since she got replaced, and everything was working out fine since, during my senior year at Tottenville, things were looking good and everything was working out fine since. But yeah. But yeah, honestly, it was pretty stressful. Honestly, don't know how I got through it. Like, I honestly felt like a lot of emotions during that time. Definitely unpleasant back then. Honestly, it was definitely unpleasant. I honestly don't know how I got through it. It just blows my mind that I went through all that, experienced all that, and was able to say that I came out okay. That I made a transformation after that. That I wasn't allowed by the bullying that I experienced to dictate my life and dictate my choices that I made afterwards. So definitely played a role, honestly. Yeah, it was awful what happened. It shouldn't have happened, and it was terrible. But I believe I learned a lot during that time as well. I believe I learned a lot. I gained tutelage from my experience in high school. I gained tutelage from the paraprofessionals I worked with, and I definitely think that I gained a lot from my time in high school. I think I definitely transformed myself during my senior year at Tottenville. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. My thoughts about autism, my experience with autism, how I was bullied in high school because of it. But, I eventually came out on top during my senior year at Tottenville. I proved to my haters that they were wrong and I was right, that I made a major transformation. I proved to succeed in ways that they couldn't imagine. And I proved them all wrong. But yeah, take care, everybody. Another video for my Storytime channel. Take care, everyone. Another video for my Storytime channel, my experience with autism. Take care, everybody.